Social media, a place of wonder, a place of argument, a place of funny memes, a place where anything you can imagine is real. But what is something that every social media user has in common? It's that we are all addicted. My name is Esteban, Uncanny, and I'll be talking about social media and the fake news we all fall for. In the article called Dopamine, Smartphones, and You, A Battle for Your Time, and written by Trevor Haynes, which is about dopamine and smartphone addiction, it says, dopamine is a chemical produced by our brains that plays a starring role in motivating behavior. It gets released when we take a bite of delicious food, when we have sex, after we exercise, and importantly, when we have successful social interactions. In an evolutionary context, it rewards us for beneficial behaviors and motivates us to repeat them. I think this is also connected to another word called classical conditioning. What is classical conditioning? Classical conditioning is a type of learning in which one learns to link two or more stimuli and anticipate events. This relates to dopamine because dopamine is released when you do something pleasurable, and if you like that pleasure, you do it over and over and over again, creating a classical condition. A real-world example of social media addiction is high schoolers. Imagine you were a high schooler, and if you are, just continue and hear me out. You're at lunch or your nutrition break and you look around. What do you see? Do you see students talking to each other? Yes. Do you see a fight that's about to start? Probably. But what you mostly see is them glued onto their phones. It's addiction. But why can't they stop? It's because of classical conditioning and dopamine. Their phones give them a dopamine spike. Maybe because all the likes they get on their posts, maybe because they're texting someone they love or like, etc. And classical conditioning fits into this because if the dopamine stop, if the likes stop, and all you want is that dopamine spike, you'll post again and again and again, and it keeps going because you'll never be satisfied. But a real-world example of fake news is something else. In the Pizzagate Wikipedia, Pizzagate is a conspiracy theory that went viral back in 2016's United States presidential election cycle, falsely claiming that the New York City Police Department has discovered a pedophilia ring linked to the members of the Democratic Party while searching through Anthony Weiner's emails. It has been extensively discredited by a wide range of organizations, including the Washington, D.C. Police. On December 4th, 2016, Edgar Madison Welch, a 28-year-old man from Salisbury, North Carolina, arrived at Comet Ping Pong and fired 3 shots from an AR-15 style rifle that struck a restaurant wall, a desk, and a door. Welch later told police that he had planned to self-investigate the conspiracy theory. Welch saw himself as a potential hero of the story, a rescuer of children. He surrendered after officers surrounded the restaurant and was arrested without incident. No one was injured. Welch told police that he had read online that the Comet restaurant was harboring child sex slaves and that he wanted to see if they were there. In an interview with New York Times, Welch later said that he regretted how he had handled the situation, but did not dismiss this conspiracy theory and rejected the description of it as fake news. Some conspiracy theorists speculated that the shooting was a staged attempt to discredit their investigations. An example of a personal experience I have with smartphone addiction / social media addiction is a screen time tracker. For English class, I've been tracking my screen time for the past 5 weeks, and I've realized that I do have an addiction. As you can see, I spend a lot of my time on YouTube watching videos for hours and hours. During the assignment, our teacher offered extra credit to not use one of our most used apps for a week, and I had to choose between Discord and TikTok, and so I chose Discord. I didn't pick TikTok because I knew that would have been hard. Not being able to watch my 20-second videos and not being able to keep my streak alive. Because you gotta keep your streak alive. Come on, my streak, I have like 100. Come on. But an example of fake news I've fallen for was the infamous Capri Sun bottle redesign. This quote-unquote news broke the internet. People saying that they were mad that they were changing their childhood. People were shocked on why they were doing this. But me, I was kind of happy. Capri Suns being in a bottle equals more juice. And I want more juice. But then the official Capri Sun TikTok confirmed that this was fake news, saying, and I quote, "Do not believe everything you see on the internet." In conclusion, smartphones are something you should put a limit on, like using it for at most 3 to 4 hours a day, and not 8 to 9 like me, because you might become addicted, affecting your mental health. As for fake news, just make sure when you see something on the internet, try taking it with a grain of salt.